announced his retirement over the weekend after 20 remarkable NFL seasons. Next stop, Canton, no doubt, where he'll eventually meet Tom Brady, no doubt. Brady tweeted this: "Congrats, my friend, on an incredible career. Thank you for the inspiration and dedication on and off the field. Look forward to seeing what's next." Russell Wilson tweeting, "Amazing career, Drew Brees, legend. Thanks for all you did for me and the game." And Saints receiver Michael Thomas said, quote, "Took it to the extreme or didn't feel honest. Love you. Congratulations on the amazing career. You are the best." And speaking of Saints, we got one of Drew's teammates, all-pro linebacker Demario Davis, joining us now. Demario, good morning. You spent 3 seasons with Drew Brees. What was your reaction when he finally made it official? You may have surmised and you may knew it. When it finally became official, what was your reaction?
I think I had so many emotions. I think the biggest one is just honor and happiness for him. When you know you had a chance to play with somebody who, the minute they walk away from the game, they're a first ballot Hall of Famer. And not just a first ballot Hall of Famer, but one of the greatest to ever play the game. You had a chance to spend 3 years around that person, learning from them, watching them, studying them, seeing their approach, and even forming a relationship off the field. You're just happy for an individual like that because he's truly riding off into the sunset the right way. And so just happy for him.
So, B. Marshall here. When I touched down in New Orleans at the beginning of December, I think it was, Seattle cut me, 2018, I believe it was. Then I got an opportunity to come down there with you boys. There's a few things that jumped out to me, but the number one thing that jumped out to me was exactly what Can't Guard Mike just talked about, Michael Thomas. He's talking about if you didn't take it to the extreme, it didn't feel honest. And what I saw was Coach Payton being there until midnight at times game planning. And then on the offensive side, I saw Drew Brees' approach. I saw him literally stand in front of a mirror for 30 minutes going through the game plan, rocking back and forth. I saw Michael Thomas. He never talked to anybody. He just went out there and walked through. In the Ritz-Carlton, the day of the game, break out in a full sweat, running while everybody else was doing a walkthrough. Just next level stuff. And then I saw you. I saw you on the defensive side be the first guy out there every single day with a piece of paper in your hand going through the script. And I asked you one day, I said, bro, this is not the same Demario Davis that I saw in New York when we were playing for Coach Bowles. I said, bro, did you learn this from Drew Brees? And so my question again is, how much did you learn from Drew Brees that took your game and everybody else's game in the building to a whole nother level?
Yeah, that's the thing that I'll speak on the most in any conversation for the rest of my life about Drew Brees is his process. His process is bar none. I mean, every second is used in an intentional manner from the time he walks into the building to the time he leaves. And that's something that I definitely took and added to my game. You can see, he's such a visual person. I'm a visual person, visual learner. I see things in my mind. And I saw how he would, go through walkthroughs on Saturday for an hour just out on the field. And it was almost like he was in the game. And so I started to do that type of mental preparation and started to focus in on my process. And I've heard John Wooden talk about it. John Wooden talked about the results are a byproduct of the product. The real product is the process. And I saw that lived out in Drew Brees. And it helped me add that to my game. And I think that's the reason why I've had some of the best years of my career here as a Saint.
Did you feel, because this is something similar we've heard about your guys' divisional rival, the Bucs, with Brady, that there is a downward pressure on everyone else in the organization when the highest paid, most accomplished guy, the oldest guy also, is not necessarily executing, that goes along with it, but working at that level? Did you see that for younger guys or other guys, in addition to yourself, that there is a standard that is set not necessarily by the coach, but by the quarterback of the team that everyone must meet?
Well, I think this organization is unique in that regard of that. I believe it's something that they established as a culture back in 2006 when Sean got here and they brought Drew in. And and Mickey and all the guys, they've established a culture like that. It's not just Drew. Drew was a big part of that demands you bring out your best or take it to the extreme, as Mike and Brandon alluded to. But it's everybody in the building. When you have an all-pro quarterback, you got an all-pro receiver, you got an all-pro defensive end, you got one of the top running backs in the game, you got a top tight end in the game, you got one of the top corners. I mean, everybody's playing at that level because, A, they got the ability to, but A, it's the environment. You have to play at that level to keep up. You know, for Marshawn to come in and practice against Mike Thomas, if he don't bring his A game, he gonna get killed on the day. You know, if me as a linebacker, I'm going against Drew Brees and Alvin Kamara. If I step out on practice field and not on my A game, you know, I'm going to get ate up. Also, I'm going against one of the greatest offensive minds to ever be a part of the game in Sean Payton. So you have to bring that intensity every single day. It's just part of the culture. It's the only way you can survive in this culture.
So the first time in 15 years, Saints fans are going to head into the season, and players, not knowing who the quarterback is going to be, or not having Drew Brees back there. There's been a debate. Maybe Jameis comes back. Maybe Taysom gets the reins and just runs with it. From what you've seen of Jameis and Taysom, can you shed some light on either who you think should be the starting quarterback or just some positive attributes that maybe we don't hear about in the media?
Well, I know we have two guys that are over there that are capable of playing in games, and they have for us, and both have gone in the game and had tremendous success. We know what Taysom can do as a dual threat quarterback. We know what Jameis can do. He's proven it throughout his career, and the times he's gone in the game for us, he's made some big plays and done exactly what the coaches have asked. You know, our mentality on defense is we've had to step out there no matter who it was, you know, taking snaps, because we've had in the past two seasons longer stints where Drew has gone down, and, you know, we had to rise to the occasion. And so that, as a defensive player, that's my mentality is whoever's over there taking the snaps, we just need them to manage the game. For us defensively, you know, we feel like we had the ability to win them. And so that's what we got to be prepared to do no matter who's taking the snaps for us. But I trust our organization is going to do what they need to do to put us in the best situation to win.
That's a very political answer, Demarius. It was very well said, very well crafted. You got through the whole answer without having to name a name. I like it. I'm on board. Hey, my question is, why do you think it took Drew Brees so long to make it official? Do you think there was a part of him that looked at the way you guys ended the season, the way he played in that last game, and said, I know that if healthy, my ribs are great, if everything's good, maybe there's one more year left? Do you think he needed to convince himself that he was done? I mean, was there any part of you that thought maybe he might come back for another season?
Well, I think that's tough for everybody that ever plays this game. We all know that Sean talks about it all the time. Eventually, it's going to come a day where we all have to get off this train, and we're going to all be better for it for having had an opportunity to ride on it. And I think that's tough for any athlete that's played the game at this high of a level to say, you know what, it's time for me to hang them up. It's over. Everybody's going to have that battle, and it's not going to be, no matter what type of career you have, especially somebody who's been at the top for 20-something years, you know, that's going to be a tough moment. And I think he wanted to be sure. I think he wanted to make sure that he was doing what was best for him, what was best for his family. And, you know, he made a decision. And I don't know all the intricacies that went into that for him to make that final decision, but he did. And all we can do is be happy for him and be grateful that we got to experience and witness this illustrious career.
All right, D, I heard how you answered Wild's question, talk about the culture going back to 2006, and it was everybody outside of Drew Brees. But, bro, I was there, and I saw it. Man, it starts with Drew Brees. I remember coming out of meetings, sitting in my locker, putting on my tape, putting on my cleats, right, looking at the schedule and saying, we got to be out for at walkthrough at 11 a.m. I look around, it's 11:02, and all you over there playing ping pong, with your script in your hand, doing two things, trying to multitask. I had Mark Ingram over here in his locker. He's dancing, doing some weird things. And then you got Michael Thomas going through his routine and Alvin Kamara just sitting there chilling. And I looked and I'm like, guys, the schedule says 11 a.m. Why aren't we out there? And then everybody looked over to the right of the locker room. They looked at Drew Brees. They said, Breezy ain't there. We good. Breezy run the whole show, even when practice starts. Sean Payton kept him late. He said, I still got to go get in the sauna. I still got to do my deal. So I'm saying all that to say this. When you lose somebody like that, it could be very deflating. Should the Saints feel optimistic right now or deflating given the situation, talking about arm talent and everything?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, there's no secret. You know, Drew Brees was our general. He was the general and one of the greatest generals you could ever have. But any kingdom that you have, you know, when you lose the general or the king or whoever that piece may be, you got to have a succession plan. And I think that has already been in place. We've had to go long periods without our general. And so it's not like we can't do it. I mean, if you look at our record in the game when Drew wasn't playing, I think we may have lost one game. And so I don't know that specifically, but I mean, we've shown that in the past two seasons that we could play without Drew. And so it's never replacing, there's no replacing a general like that. I know what it's like to have a great quarterback and to play in games where you don't. I've had a career where I played with both, and it's a big difference. So we're not going to act like that doesn't mean, you know, a major part. All I'm saying is we have proven that we can do it. When we didn't have them. And so that's just, it is what it is. I mean, the game goes on. And so you